Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
What is going on, everybody? I go by RB, and welcome back to Philly Take with RB. You know what to do. Go ahead and smash that like button for me. Hit that subscribe if you're new, and be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you're always notified whenever I upload or go live. We are back today, just a day into the NBA All-Star break, and the news is already sprouting. The buzz. Daryl Morey on the phones already. Maybe, perhaps, you could say. Hey, just a few weeks until the NBA trade deadline, and you know the Sixers are going to be active participants in this trade deadline. And one name today is already being swirled around and linked to the Philadelphia 76ers. But before we jump in and talk about that, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been supporting on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, helping me grow the overall brand of this channel and distant out to multiple platforms. We're going to read our last 3 reviews that we have here today, and then we'll be up to date. So shout out to everybody. If you have not yet, please go ahead and show some love on the other platforms as well. But today we got G Buddy 76 coming in, and he says amazing, best talks about Philly sports and really entertaining, keeps it real and respectful. Thank you, G Buddy. And then we have Joel do a 180 Embiid, says great 5 stars, great at what he does. I've been following him on YouTube for a while now, and he's the best. He's my only way to get most of the Sixers games. Great podcast, would definitely recommend to all diehard Sixers and Eagles fans. Thank you so much, man. We do the play-by-plays, and shout out to you for being up in there. And then lastly, we got BPY. He says great podcast, been listening to RB since he had 930 subscribers. Shout out to you. He's one of the only YouTubers I've never unsubscribed from. If you're a Philly sports fan, I don't know what you're doing if you're not listening to this podcast. Let them know, BPY. What are you doing? All it takes is a second to hit that like and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for showing the constant support. But look, today, a rumor is going around, as you can see right here. Apparently, a lot of the executives in the NBA believe that P.J. Tucker is going to end up in Philadelphia, whether it's via a buyout or, a trade, some kind of small package where we could link this together. And I could definitely see this happening. Now, I want to take a step back. A lot of people have been inquiring about this. They've been, throwing this name around the past couple weeks, and, it's been a main topic of discussion. And let me be completely honest here. I don't see all the hype that everybody is putting out there, right? PJ Tucker is 35 years old. He's an experienced vet. He's been around to different locker rooms, but most notably, people know him as, the past 4 or 5 years with the Houston Rockets, on those playoff teams that they thought one day could push it all the way to the NBA championship, even though they never got there. But PJ Tucker's been known as that 3-and-D guy, that tough guy in the locker room. He's going to be gritty, and he's just going to bring that toughness. He's going to bring that attitude to your locker room, and I think that's his best trait. I think having a guy like that who's tough-minded really helps the team and could help a team like the Sixers. But even taking a step back from that, let's think about this logically. If this were to happen, if a trade for PJ Tucker were to happen just in the NBA, I think the Sixers would be the front runner, and here's why. Daryl Morey was the guy that acquired PJ Tucker. He's spoken highly of him over the years, right? And, PJ Tucker, looking at his contract, he's on the last year of a 4-year deal. He's only making, I think, $8 million. So it would be an easy acquire. PJ Tucker, he's getting up there in age. And the Houston Rockets, they have been miserable as of late. I think they've lost 12 in a row, and they're going to be looking to fire sale some of their pieces. Now, it gets into a question of whether this should be a package deal that includes others as well, or just the PJ Tucker, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But Daryl Morey has his ties with Houston. He has his ties, and I think if anyone was able to do it, given just the essence of Daryl Morey and just given his experience and his ties around the league, he would be able to pull this off. The only way I wouldn't see it is if Tillman Fertitta is still being petty, because when the whole James Harden thing went down, apparently according to the sources, Fertitta just he declined his calls. He just stopped calling back because he was mad about Daryl Morey going to Philly and trying to take his player with him. But I think if there was a GM that was able to get this done, I think it would be Daryl Morey. So the contract makes sense. I don't think that would be an issue at all. To me, it really just comes down to what would you have to give up? And is this a guy that the Sixers need? Is it a player that fits? Now, when I look at PJ Tucker, like I said, this year has been bad for him. His numbers have been down. He's 35. He's getting up there in age, but he usually averages 6, 8, 10 points a game. This year he's averaging just above 4 points a game. He's been a 36, 37, 38% shooter from long range, and that's, like I said, his main skill on the offensive side. He's not going to take the ball. He's not going to dribble it. Can PJ Tucker come in here? Can he fit and be a piece that we need? He's been playing 30 minutes a game this year, and he's only shooting 36% from three this year. Now, when I look at his numbers, I think it's fair to say that there might be a skew given the fact that, he's playing on a miserable team, right? And there is a thing to be said about motivation. The Houston Rockets went and shipped James Harden. They were on a bit of a streak, but now they're just falling into the dumpster. And PJ Tucker doesn't want to be there, right? He's later on in his career. He wants a ring. He wants to play somewhere where he's going to have a chance to compete. So I think if he moved to another team like the Sixers, I think his numbers would go up. I think he would be fine. But here's the thing, and like I said, I haven't been as high on this as other people because I don't view this as a move like, all right, this puts us over the top. Sure, if we go out and acquire multiple pieces, I think PJ Tucker would be fine. But he's, like I said, he's pretty much just a spot-up guy. And when I've watched PJ Tucker, when I've watched the Rockets, the guy either goes 1 for 7 from 3, he either goes 0 for 8, or he's on. But really what would make the impact is the defense and the tough-mindedness, like I said, coming off that second unit. I felt, and I've stated multiple times, that I think we need experience. I think we need a veteran off that bench who's going to make a difference. And maybe PJ Tucker could come in and be that guy. I don't know if you would start PJ Tucker on this team. I know people might want to move Danny Green to the bench, but would you start PJ Tucker? I mean, it's possible, but I would more so view, and this is kind of the case that people have been making, as PJ Tucker would transition off the bench as that small ball 5. And that's where I think if it were to happen, maybe you could sell me on this, because Dwight Howard he's been really good in the last couple games, but overall this season, he's been inconsistent. And we honestly don't know if Dwight Howard is going to be this guy that can lead us into the playoffs, and he can, man that second unit in the paint, can score the ball when he wants. So I don't know if that's going to be Dwight Howard like we've seen these last couple games. So we might need a guy like PJ Tucker to be able to come in and maybe take some of those minutes, right? PJ Tucker's not going to play 30 minutes a game on this team. He's going to come in and he's going to try to make his moments count, but he's going to have to be able to knock down shots. The last thing I would want is to go and spend some, capital on PJ Tucker, have him come and be the 0 for 8 version of PJ Tucker. No, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I think PJ Tucker would fit on this team as a small ball 5 coming off the bench, and that's where we would need him. That's where we would need him. But I'm in a little bit of an opposition compared to other Sixers fans I've seen that say we have to make this move. It has to happen. He's one of the top targets. I don't know about that. Like I said, he's getting up there in age. I think that PJ Tucker would make us a better team. I think he would contribute. I think he would bring, him and Dwight Howard, that energy on the bench. I think that would help. But I don't know. I don't want to give up too much for this. Like I said, the Houston Rockets could end up acquiring a second-round pick, and that's honestly the farthest I would go. If you're giving up a future second-round pick, okay, fine. I guess I would do that. But if they want a player, if they want more compensation, if they want a pick swap, I'm not doing that. No. Second-round pick in the future, and that's it for PJ Tucker. However, if this were to be a compensation where it includes a package, if Victor Oladipo is included, and then there's a whole nother talk. And I think that depends over the next couple weeks on what Daryl Morey does in terms of Kyle Lowry, in terms of some of these other bigger names. Do we go after a guy like that? If we do, then I don't think we need a Victor Oladipo. But if he's there, maybe he could be an option. I know the injury history, but Oladipo has shown some flashes this year that he can still be his old self. So how would that go? Would we be able to acquire a Victor Oladipo and a PJ Tucker in a deal? Well, that gets more complicated, and I still think Daryl Morey could pull it off, but he would have to work his ties, with Tillman Fertitta, and we would definitely have to give up a lot more compensation at that point. But overall, I think PJ Tucker fits, especially on the defensive end. He brings that grit, and coming off the bench, I wouldn't mind it. But I don't think it's one of those moves that puts us over the top, that's going to automatically resolve all of the issues on this bench when it comes to shooting consistently, when it comes to just spreading the ball and having a ball handler, right? If we go and acquire a Kyle Lowry, well, then I think that helps because maybe you can bring Seth Curry to the bench. There's other alternatives that you can do. But in terms of PJ Tucker, a lot of these rival executives expect him to end up in Philadelphia, given his ties with Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey once said that it was a great trade acquiring him, and he's been a big fan of him. So I could definitely see us pulling this off. That's pretty much all I got, though. That's pretty much all I got. Would PJ Tucker be able to keep it up in terms of shooting the ball? Would he be that guy from a couple years ago that was really valuable for the Rockets, right? Not always in the way that showed up on the stat sheet, but if you watch those playoff games when they were going head to head with Golden State, he was just in there. His energy and his presence was felt, and he talks a lot of smack. I love when Philly has a guy like that. That would be my favorite part of bringing him in here. And by the way, he has some nice shoe game as well. He's known as maybe one of the best shoe enthusiasts in the entire league. He would be able to open up his own sneaker shop in Philadelphia. Who knows, man? We're getting way ahead of ourselves. But yeah, man, that's my thoughts on it. It would be kind of a nice revival for him this season. I think he's going to go to a competitor. And if it were to come down to us versus another team, I would much rather have him than letting him go to a team like the Brooklyn Nets, for example, or the Milwaukee Bucks. So those are my thoughts on it. We'll see what Daryl Morey does. I do think he'll be making multiple moves in the next couple weeks, but will this be a move? Is this feasible? Is this viable? What would you give up? Is he going to make an impact on this team right away? You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace.
Perfect.